Welcome to the Connector 302 Temporary Redirect Show, giving you the opportunity to step away from the grind of working in your business and investing 30 minutes to listen to people who can help you work on it. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Temporary Redirect Show. This afternoon we have got the incomparable Art Green with us live. G'day, mate. Welcome.
Howdy.
Yeah. Very well known for, and let's get it out of the way, very well known for the time on The Bachelor, but just as well known these days for some of the amazing stuff that you're doing in the business world. Even before Bachelor, you were well known around the old clean paleo side of things. You've now got Right Foods, you've got Plate Up, you're, Jesus Christ, you're half of New Zealand following you on Insta and Facebook. How's things?
Yeah, things are going really well. It's quite a. I mean, you know, I hate saying that we're busy with a whole bunch of different things, but yeah, at the moment, currently juggling a few different things, and recently launched Plate Up in January, so that's taken up most of my focus at the moment, which has been really positive and really quite motivating. So yeah.
Yeah, fantastic. And let's take the clock back. Let's talk a little bit about the history of art. You know, where'd you grow up? How'd you get into doing what you're doing? Were you a success at school? Did you go to university? Give us the 5-minute bio on the world that led to Art Green.
Yeah, right. 5-minute bio. Okay, so I grew up in Martinborough on a farm. Moved down to Christchurch and went to high school down there at Burnside. Then I studied sports science down at Otago. I was never really that academic at school. PE was my favourite subject, and hence why I went down and studied sports science down there. Mm-hmm. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I figured out how to apply myself properly, and I actually then did become far more academic down at university. Then I finished my degree, and I kind of came out of uni without any real direction. Having a PE degree as such, it doesn't really set you up for a career. You know, you study law to become a lawyer, you study medicine, you become a doctor, study PE, and, you know, I don't know what you're going to do. Like, there's no set career path for you. So I came out not really knowing exactly what I wanted to do or where I was going to be. I did a couple of odd jobs, like sales jobs and different bits and pieces. I did a bunch of travel, coached tennis in the States. Then I landed a gig after about 2 years of being out of uni. I landed a gig in Western Australia managing a gym in the middle of the outback, and for me that was quite life changing because I changed my whole mindset about health and nutrition, and I did a lot more reading and studying, and I had a lot of downtime. Like my job was so crazy. I literally just sat around most of the day. I'd clean the gym for a little bit. I did a workout. I hung out by the pool, and then I read. And then at nighttime, all these miners would come back from working at the mine during the day, and then I'd train them, or I'd take them through fitness classes or some nutritional programs and stuff. But I just had a lot of time to myself, and I had a lot of time to relearn and read. And that was when I really developed my passion for health and wellness and nutrition. And from there, that
must have been quite paradoxical, really, being over there, because I know that miner life very, very much revolves around working huge hours, drinking a huge amount, eating crap food, and going away on holidays to Asia.
Totally. That's essentially what it's like working in the mining industry. You know, like most of the people there, they finish their long, hot days working down in the mine site, driving trucks, doing whatever, building, whatever. And then they just want to go hit the bar and just, you know, drink as much as they can without meaning that they're going to have alcohol in the system the next day. Because if you blow anything more than zeros in the alcohol breath tester the next morning, then you're straight back home, instant dismissal. So it was my role to try and convert people and to try and make them healthier in an industry that was like very much not health focused. So it was quite challenging, but it motivated me, and And it was kind of like, I had so many people asking me what sort of nutrition, like what sort of diet they should be following, what's healthy,
Yep.
what they should be eating. And the thing was, I'd studied nutrition at uni, but I actually couldn't answer their questions. I couldn't tell them there was one, right way of eating or. So that's when I thought I'm going to try out a whole bunch of different things myself and relearn and do a whole lot more reading. And then it led me on to trying out different diets, and it led me kind of down this sort of paleo path. And then at the same time, a couple of my buddies were back here in New Zealand starting up Clean Paleo, and it had been they'd started up and been going for about 4 months, and then I came back from WA and joined in with them, and then we were at the time we were making bags of cereal, and this we were hiring out a bakery overnight, and we'd make our cereal in there, and then sell them into small independent grocery stores or health food stores, and then we just kind of went from there, and we've continued to grow it over the last 5 years, and to the point where now we're one of the leading functional food businesses in brands in the major supermarkets in New Zealand, which is huge, because 5 years ago the supermarkets wouldn't stock any of the products that we're making. Health food wasn't really a thing, and I think we've really helped to pioneer that change, the mentality and just the health food market in New Zealand. So yeah.
How important was it being able to take that through a bit of a journey? And I hate that term. God damn it! Let's follow that journey.
Yeah.
Me. But there has to be that transition from small operator to getting that foot in the door and some of those big chains and things like that. And what were some of those critical things that you really had to those boxes that you had to tick, because it is such a minefield getting into those establishments, and they can hold you over a barrel, and you've also got to be able to fulfill demand.
Yeah, totally. It was a huge transition for us. I think, being naive actually, can work in your favor. At the start, we would be asked things like, how many units do you have in an outer? And we were like, what's an outer? It turns out that's a carton. So it's all this, even just like the lingo and the jargon that big industry uses. We just had to school ourselves up, and we did that gradually as we went. But I think for us, we weren't afraid to admit that we had no idea what these people were talking about. We'd go into meetings and there were 3-letter acronyms being thrown left, right, and center, and we had no idea what they meant. And, we weren't afraid to just say, hey, hang on a second, what are you actually talking about? Because we've got no idea.
I can totally relate to that.
Yeah, I think we were, I think we learned early on that we're not fussed about that. We're not too precious about pretending to be more knowledgeable than we are. And so we would just ask questions. The supermarkets that we initially went into, Countdown Supermarket, that's was our first big change in the business. For that, we had to change up our food safety regulations. We had to build our own manufacturing facility, get all our own machinery, and get fully certified. And so that was huge, a huge transition in our business life. And that's when it all became...
And a massive capital outlay as well, yeah?
Yeah, totally. We just...
With no guarantees of return.
Yeah, exactly. So we borrowed a lot of money. We had some backing from some very generous family members, and that has helped us to get to where we are now. Without that, we wouldn't have been able to do anything. And especially it's very hard to get people backing you for an industry that's new, that's unproven, whether it be paleo or just health food in general, which doesn't have historically hasn't had a place in mainstream supermarkets. For us trying to, forge that path has been, it's uncertain. So, it's hard to get the backing.
Yeah, sure. And at what point did the whole Bachelor thing come into it, and what impact did that actually have on the business? So was it a little bit of luck, a little bit of timing, and then a little bit of, a whole lot of exposure? Yeah,
all of that. We've been going for about 1.5 years, and I got asked if I wanted to be on the show, and I had to think about it quite a lot and talk about it with my business partners, because, it could be really beneficial, or it could be completely detrimental to the business. It all came
We've
down.
seen it go both ways, eh?
Yeah, totally. And it all comes down to how you come across. A lot of that isn't even necessarily determined by the type of person you are, but more to do with the outcome of the show from a relationship point of view. And that's something that I had no control over going into the show. I had no idea who was going to be on there and if I would meet someone that I would be suited to. So most of it just came down to luck. I found my fiance on the show, and it all worked out really well for us, which I think helped to paint me in a positive light. And then because of my close association with Clean Paleo, it helped to boost that, helped to boost the publicity. And I guess it's like the publicity that money can't buy, really, back then. And that definitely helped get the word out there, let people know what we were doing.
Yeah, so you've got quite an interesting situation now as well, where you've got one, let's say, fairly established business. How long ago was that now that you guys set up Clean Paleo?
4.5, 5 years, yeah.
5 years, and it's a good sized business by any measure in the New Zealand market. And so you've got that whole paradox of, I've got this one business that's doing all the things that it needs to be doing. We've got management systems in place. We've got great supply networks, distribution sorted out and everything like that. And then we've got Plate Up.
Yeah.
Going through that, right back at square one and everything like that. Is there a massive difference that you find that you need to change hats and use that different mindset of startup versus established business and the different things that you're needing to focus on, depending on which business you're looking at the time?
Yeah. I mean, they are definitely completely different stages. I think the whole more so would be the business models that are so different, and what I've learned from them. With Clean Paleo, we because no one could actually make the foods that we wanted to make, we had to bring everything in house, make our own manufacturing facility, and make everything for ourselves. And for that, we've had to just jump through so many hurdles and to set everything up so much by the book, and staffing issues and all the other issues that come with that sort of stuff. And I've learned a lot from that, and I've figured that with Plate Up, I've tried to apply all that knowledge, and now our business model is based is far different. We outsource as much as we can. We have a great.
One of those things that I don't want in a business.
Totally, I know my strengths. I know that right now I'm currently semi-relevant from a PR perspective in New Zealand, and I think might as well try and make the most of that while I'm still current.
Absolutely.
And so I know that my strength is in marketing and sales, not necessarily the manufacturing side of things. And so we outsource that. We've got a great kitchen down in Hamilton. Our chefs down there, they are just so good. And so basically, it's just I don't have to worry about it.
So for those people that don't know Plate Up as of yet, give us the spiel.
Yeah, so in January this year, Matilda and I launched Plate Up. Mm-hmm. We've been working on it for about 6 months prior to our launch, and it's a healthy, ready-made meals business. So think of it, it's similar to like a My Food Bag situation where you're getting your food delivered to your door, but our meals are already cooked for you, and you just need to heat them up 2 minutes in the microwave or 5 or 10 minutes in the oven, and they're all healthy. So we base them off base them off paleo principles. So they're all grain-free, gluten-free, just natural whole foods. But we don't go out of our way to market them as such, because we know that can be a reasonably polarizing word, and some people don't want to label what they're eating. But we think that you can't go wrong from a health perspective with paleo. So that's essentially what we do. So we've been going for 3 months now, and it's been really well received, picked up by the market, and I think it was just good timing. People were looking for an easy way to eat healthily. I know, it was born from frustration from ourselves. Maddie and I we were doing My Food Bag, and we just we'd get to the end of the week and there'd be leftover meals because we
Yeah.
leftover food because things would pop up during the week. I think it shouldn't be this way, but society is making every one of us more busy, and things that we sacrifice are our health. And one of the things associated with our health, I think, is having a good connection with food and cooking for ourselves and knowing what you're eating. And for us, that kind of went out the window. That'd be the first thing that we wouldn't have time for. Or we'd start to resent because we're like, it feels like a chore to cook where it shouldn't. So that's what we found that, eating healthily, doing healthy takeaways for lunch was easier than dinner. Like with dinner, there are maybe a couple of healthy food options, but at the end of the day, you're kind of like, you're so hungry and you just want something that's really delicious. So there's so much temptation out there as well. It's like quite hard to eat healthy. So
who came up with the tagline? I got to know that.
Which tagline is that one?
The one for because you got enough on your plate.
Oh well, that came. A friend of ours came up with that one. Yeah, we've got a few rolling taglines, but it's pretty much we're basing it around convenience, but also health. So
yeah, very cool. And how did you actually outsource the product, outsource the kitchen, everything like that? But the development of the brand, I mean, how much time, you're saying you spent 6 months leading into it, working on that before launch, yeah? And I suppose, a big chunk of that must be product development.
Yep.
But thinking about that go-to-market strategy, building up those networks, the supplies, the PR, everything like that, what was the biggest challenge that you found in that area? I mean, it's your natural area of expertise.
Yeah. Surprisingly, the meals and the recipes, that wasn't actually that difficult. We like to cook, we like to create, and what we did was we basically made our menu consist of our favorite meals that we like to cook. So that's what we did, and then we got our chefs to help us create them, like tinker with them, so that they could mass produce them. Yeah. And it was actually surprisingly easy doing that side of things. The brand creation was quite difficult. Maddie and I came up with that ourselves, and we took a long time coming up with different names. It was for about 5 weeks, we probably were going down about 10 different brand directions with different brand names.
Tell us some of the ones that really sucked, because I know that you go through that.
Yeah, Matt, can you think of any brand names that we were going to call played up?
Goodness Meals.
Oh yeah, Goodness Meals.
I think that's good.
Yeah, there were heaps that we came up with, and they just didn't resonate. They didn't. They just didn't quite work. But we're really stoked.
And then you go down the website channel and going, oh shit, we can't use that. Oh, we can't use that.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly. There were a couple like that where we were trying to get things to say health food and real food, and there's so much stuff out there that is branded towards that sort of stuff, and so we were kind of forced away from anything like that. And I think it's worked in our favor because, essentially we're not trying to get people to think they're eating healthy. We're just trying to create an answer for people who do care about what they're eating, but they just don't have time. So it's more about
good food.
Yeah, it's more about convenience and quality food, and make something that tastes good, because at the end of the day, if it doesn't taste good, people won't eat it.
It never ceases to amaze me how so many great things just come from people executing on stuff that they like doing. Right.
Totally.
So I enjoy cooking. I love good food.
Yeah.
I just want to carry on down this track. Let's build an idea around it.
Absolutely. I think that's what makes businesses succeed, is that they're from a purpose and a passion, because people aren't going to put a lot of time and effort into something unless they actually care about it. So I think that's the main thing one of the main things that makes a business succeed.
Seen so many people fail when they go down a track where they've seen an opportunity because it's an industry or it's a market segment that people are making money in.
Totally.
So think, I've got to do that.
Yep.
The whole drop shipping thing, there's a whole bunch of stuff. Oh yeah, cool. I can just whack it together a website, throw something together, I can push it. And they just burn out after 6 months because they don't really give a toss.
Exactly.
And they find out that it's actually hard work.
Yeah, business for the sake of business, and they just don't have the passion. And if you don't have the passion, then you're not gonna try as hard, and you're just not gonna be as enthused about it. And that's reflected in everything about the business. It feeds its way down from you, down through everything, employees, marketing, everything. I think it's, you can tell.
Mm-hmm. Did you have to seek funding for Paleo, or
No.
or you lucky enough to get that?
We just saved. Things I've learned. I've wanted to do this completely without relying on anyone else. Maddie and I basically just saved. We had an initial outlay, and then as of last month, I think we broke even, and now we're starting to make profit. So already,
3 months in, that's incredible.
Yeah, so it's very cool. I mean, that being said, like, we didn't have a huge outlay at the start. We were able to save money in a lot of different places, and marketing spend so far has been relatively cheap for what we've been able to achieve, and that's again because of our current position with social media and stuff like that.
Yeah. So with that, Mark, obviously you've got the exposure, you've got the brand, you've got the connections, and the influence down that track. With your marketing, do you work on? Have you got any formulas that you try and work to, whether it's a cost per acquisition in regards to that average recurring revenue sort of thing? Because it's with your model, when it's a subscription basis, you have to factor in, don't you? How long can people stay with us? What's that worth to us? What's the margin on each week's outlay? And then how much am I prepared to pay for that to acquire them?
Yeah.
And
totally.
do you take a formulaic approach?
No. Basically, we are. So, firstly, we're not actually a subscription model yet. That's something we're looking to build in. Again, we haven't had the money to invest that into our website to that yet. Initially we didn't. So we've just launched with basically people just order what they want when they want. We know that there's a huge appetite for subscription because I think between 50 and 60% of our orders are 60% of our orders are from returning customers. So we've got a lot of people that are asking for a subscription model because they want to not have to worry about having to reorder meals and everything.
That's that convenience factor again as well, isn't it? I don't have to go back in. I don't have to reorder.
Absolutely. In terms of like cost per acquisition and all that sort of stuff, we have not delved into that at all yet. There is so many things that we will begin to look at. I think we're going to wait till we get the subscription model going first before we really delve into that data and figure out where we can improve. But we've just got so many other low-hanging fruit that we need to get, we need to pick, and we need to get moving with the business before we really start tinkering and fine-tuning with all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, you've got a massive base of potential clients just with your following, eh?
Yep, absolutely. I mean, we launched with on the very first day that we launched. That's still been our biggest sales day, and it just was phenomenal. And that's just from our follower base on social media. And I think we just have a very engaged audience who are actually interested in what we do, and
So life is a good segue, I suppose. Life in the public eye is pretty much par for the course for you two now, and you've chosen to carry on with that. With influencer marketing, you're close to 100K followers on Instagram. You've got over 30K on Facebook. There's challenges that come with that, but obviously massive opportunities as well. How do you think it's going to impact you guys around some of this, I suppose, tightening up of regulation and things around sponsored posts versus that about disclosure? I mean, they're saying now that #SP is no longer sufficient. Whereas here in New Zealand market, I think we're probably a little bit more relaxed, but I know they're cracking down on it in the States like anything.
Yeah, I think it's great. I think that it has been needed for a few years. I think that there were too many influencers posting about stuff that is not a true reflection of their blatant advertising, but because of the nature of social media, there are a lot of impressionable young people on social media that don't understand that it's advertising. So I think that having regulation in there to make it known that things are a paid promotion, I think it's a good thing. And I know now, most things you do it, you have to indicate it's a paid partnership with, just under the geotagging bit of, so I'm talking about Instagram. And I think it's good. I also think that I think it'll continue to change social media. There are a lot of ways of getting a lot of followers without it being organic, those followers being organic. You can buy followers, you can go into there are different ways of little influencer networks where you can kind of, they're called pods, and anyway, lots of different things like this. And I think that there's going to be more need for influencers that are also real people, and they actually are themselves in real life and not just on the social media front. So, they go to events and they can talk to people and they're actually normal people. Whereas, I mean, it's happened a couple of times where I've met influencers that I've been quite excited to meet. And I'll be like, I follow this person and I feel like I know them. And then you go and meet them and they're just like, they don't want to talk to you, or they're just like really, closed. And it's just, it's strange. But anyway.
So online persona versus real life, there needs to be alignment, yeah?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. I had to chuckle. I think recently you had an Instagram post down in Queenstown, and we're probably sponsored and all that, but outside Ferg's in the old pies, and I was like, there was a whole heap of different reaction about it. The clean paleo guy and this and that, they're having a meat pie. And I was like, shit, guys, you're allowed to have a life.
I know. It's hilarious, yeah,
But hey, you got some exposure.
Well, I mean, that wasn't it wasn't promoted a paid post or anything. We just love pies. We just love pies, and we get like every now and then you get a bit of that sort of stuff. People complain about anything.
They do a meat pie.
I actually think they're the best pies in New Zealand. So, Ferg's Pies, if you're listening, then maybe you should give me some money or some pies, because I'm doing your job for you.
I'm open to just pies.
But I can't remember. Oh yeah, we had to learn pretty early on that you just it's different. People just will complain about anything, and they'll try and have a go at you about nothing. We've been pretty lucky in that we haven't had much of that. But you do have to not only just have a thick skin, but you do have to just acknowledge and be aware that that's how social media works, and people like to complain and like to have a voice, and that's totally cool, but you just don't have to listen to it all the time.
Yeah. I know you love your sports. Obviously, you had a lot of background in training and everything like that. Coast to coast, pretty cool.
Yeah, awesome. Coolest event. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was I did the full event last year, and then I did just the run this year, and I absolutely loved it. It's an event that I think a lot more Kiwis should do, because you get to see some incredible parts of New Zealand, and the actual the feat of going from one side of the country to the other just using your body power is pretty impressive, and it's a really good feeling having completed it. So yeah, I thoroughly loved it.
Yeah, huge run. I'd love to do it. I recently did a 330k run from Mount Cook to Oamaru, Alps to Ocean.
Whoa.
Absolutely broke me, but I completely, take my hat off, because I know that terrain that you guys went over there was brutal. I have to give a rep to my mates down at Waitomo. Are you gonna head back down to Waitomo Trail Run this in a few weeks' time?
No, probably not. We did it. It was quite funny, actually. That was the first exposure to doing any trail running that we'd ever done, and we had no idea what we were doing. So
that was a brutal one to start with, then.
Oh my God, we had no idea. We'd done like a 10k run beforehand. That was the longest we'd run. We rocked up at the start, and we were just in like our little gym shoes. No like water, no snacks, nothing. All these people with their heart out, backpacks and stuff, with their nutrition and everything, which you need for that sort of run. And they were like, "Oh, where's your food?" And we're like, "What do you mean?" They're like, "Oh, where's your water? Where's your?" And they're like, "Oh, I don't know." So they were like stations or something. And they're like, "Yeah, it's quite a serious run." So it took me, I think, 5.5 hours, and I got like severe cramp. I was broken at the end of it. Maddie hurt her knee about 25 k's into it, so she finished on a golf buggy, and it was a disaster. But it actually, the thing was, it made me realize like mental toughness, because now I from then on, to any event that I've done like that, I've kind of applied that, and I've been like, well, you know what? That Waitomo trail run was harder than this, so But that was
I'm
the good
big
event.
big believer that any business owner or entrepreneur, anyone that wants to start a business up, should run an ultra marathon, because it just breeds resilience, because you are just completely fucked multiple times. You have massive highs, massive lows. You never know whether you're going to finish it, and the feeling when you actually accomplish your goal is just ridiculous.
Yeah, totally. It's such a good feeling.
Yeah. Oh man. So what's next for you guys? What's coming up? Obviously, you've got a massive focus on Plate Up, but where are you going to hopefully be taking that over the next, over the course of this year? Obviously, get the subscription model working.
Yeah.
Where do you want to be with that?
Yeah, so the focus this year for me, business-wise, is Plate Up, and we would like to set up a subscription model. There are a bunch of different things as well we want to set up so that it's rolling over. We've got new meals coming in each month, and then hopefully we'll get it going a little bit more autonomously, so I don't have to be so involved. Thank you. And yeah, I will. Thanks. Sorry, Maddie's just made me some food. I'm going to eat it. So that's sort of the business side of things. Maddie's filmed a TV show earlier this year called Heartbreak Island, so that's coming out in mid-year, and so there'll be quite a lot of PR around that for her. So that's kind of her. She may be filming another season at the end of this year. And apart
I'd like to see you guys on Celebrity Survivor.
Oh yeah, well, maybe. Who knows?
Yeah, it's like 12 weeks out of the business, mate. That's the problem.
I know. Yeah, but that's the thing. Like, our lives are. I mean, we get so many different random opportunities that come up all the time, every week, that it's very hard to say what's going to happen, what's this year's going to hold for us, because we have over the last 3 years kept ourselves reasonably open to different opportunities that have popped up. And that's kind of how we've had to be to make the most of everything that's happening for us. And so far it's working out really well, just being really flexible. And yeah, I'm trying to do a little bit of travel. We're going to go to the States next month for my 30th and do a bit of a roadie. And yeah, and then get married next year probably. Very cool. Very cool.
Hey, look, I will let you get on with your meal.
Cool.
And thanks heaps for coming on. It's been pretty cool seeing you guys transform over the last couple of years, and this whole Plate Up thing, I think, has just got massive legs. So congrats on the launch. Looking forward to seeing where it goes, and I'll catch you on the Waitomo Trail sometime in the future when you're ready to tackle it again.
Yeah, maybe next year. I'll see you there.
Good stuff. Cheers,
Thanks,
buddy.
mate.
Enjoy.